On the maths science team, we've been experimenting with the first of a lesson template. It's the 5 E's. I'm got a little annotative talk about that in a minute. We've been focusing on explicitly telling students the expected outcomes of the lesson. And as I said at the workshop I was here with Peter, it gives the students the language to tell me what they're doing. If I'm not giving them the language, they won't be giving me the language back. And I can't read their minds. So it's really important for me to get them talking. I'm using open-ended activities to begin the session, getting them ready, using a little bit of John Monroe, getting them cued into maths. Many of the maths teachers simply, I've got to say, open the book. And now they're beginning to use those number fluency activities. I've got a whole lot of them that I use, and some of them are now taking them on into their classrooms. Using a variety of assessment tools to identify the students' present capabilities. That's something that the maths team probably wasn't doing. They weren't doing their present, they were doing the end of a unit, and I was questioning that. How did they know we're making a difference? If they're just assessing at the end of the unit, how did they know they were adding any sort of value by their teaching? Well, go back to that for a moment. I've got to talk about an incident in my classroom a few weeks ago. A teacher who's been in the school longer than I've been alive came into my classroom. I operate an open door class. That is, if you've got a free and I'm teaching, you can come in and watch me teach. Does mean sometimes I have 3 or 4 people in the room with me. Sometimes I don't have anybody. And there was an incident where I had a Year 9 maths class working, and they're all working very industriously. And the teacher came into my classroom and she says, "What are they doing? Why are they so engaged?" And I said, well, because they're all working on something at their own level. And she's like, "No." And she walked around and had a look in all their books and came back to me and said, "Wow, that's really impressive." And I said, "It wasn't particularly hard for me, having done it for a while now, but we'd gone through the engagement. It was a probabilities unit that we were teaching. I'd gone in and we'd flicked coins. And for the Year 9 students, they hadn't done this for ages. That sort of approach where we actually did some practical. We had the coins. We as a class played a game. They were very unused to that. And I've got to say, initially they were very challenged by it. I did get called a superlative by one of the Year 9 students. But because she was just so used to working out of the textbook all the time. And it really challenged their way of thinking, not only the teachers but the students as well. If they're really uncomfortable with maths and you take away their textbook, it's their crutch. And particularly that student was very uncomfortable with me taking the textbook. And so the teacher was very impressed, went away and she tried it in her own class, which was really nice to see that sort of thing. And so I don't necessarily do the whole school, but I've invited them all into my classroom. The future in Northland, we as a maths science team will continue to use the 5 E's template and then introduce it to the wider school. So my idea was that if we had a success within the maths thing, then we could feed it out, saying this is working for us, not for me, but for us. And that's my whole idea of having a small team. The small team is there's only 5 plus myself, so it's not a large maths science team. I'm looking at finalising an assessment schedule and develop a plan to share the information with the wider school. Again, it's that information sharing concept. I know the picture. I'm able to say to the kid doesn't know their times tables, or in particular there's some kids who can't count to 10 yet. I know that, but when they go into the wider school, the other teachers expect them to know all these things. And so my trying to work out how to share that information, because my belief is that it will decrease the behaviour management issues that we have if we're focusing in on their needs. I'm looking at implementing the second of the templates in the next couple of weeks actually. I've got a meeting with the maths science team next Friday, spending a day with them, going over it, and hopefully I'll trial it before the end of the year, and I'll continue to trial it next year at the beginning. And then I will feed it out to the wider school community by having, again, seen success in the classroom, in the maths team, and them feeding it out, rather than it being a me situation. And I start the sessions with them, I always finish with it, and I always talk about it's whatever my background, wherever my ability, wherever I start from. Because I've got to say, in the second school I'm involved in, you are a Year 7, you'll be taught as a Year 7, here is the Year 7 activity, this is what you will do. And as I said, I've got a Year 7 who can't count to 10 yet, and I've got Year 7s who are very fluent in their times tables and number knowledge. So to say that they're all the same has been basically missing them, and it gives them an opportunity to find some success, which they have been finding, particularly because I take a smaller group of Year 7s out now. I've been away for a fortnight, or nearly a fortnight over in New Zealand because of a bereavement in the family. I came back and a lot of them had gone backwards when they'd gone back into the main class. So it was a bit of a disappointment. And I knew this cartoon all about the fact that Better Maths is on the end of the road. We've got this bridge at the moment, it's all up. We can't get through without the support. And that's what I knew, and that's basically me. Thanks.